Hi. What I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about a great new tabletop role-playing game that I was blessed to get this week. I purchased it through Drive-Thru RPG. It's a tabletop role-playing game that was developed in 2011, and it was created on a Kickstarter. There was a gentleman by the name of Wedge Smith. I believe there were some other creators in there, but he had a memorable name. So, the tabletop role-playing game goes by the name of Chronicles of the Void, and it's a really fascinating role-playing game. So, what I really want to talk about today is I want to talk about the meta story around this tabletop role-playing game, not the story within the game, the story of how the game was created and what its life has been like, which is really kind of fascinating to me. I'm a huge, huge fan of tabletop role-playing games. So I'm not the greatest reviewer of tabletop role-playing games because I love almost every single role-playing game. Even bad role-playing games are really quite enjoyable for me because I can see, well, this tabletop role-playing game author did this, and this tabletop role-playing author did this, and it worked out, and this one didn't work out. So I really kind of love just to see how these games are made. And so there's a really cool story around Chronicles of the Void. So Chronicles of the Void came out in 2011, and actually it was Kickstarted in 2011, and it made a total of $15,000 to create. And so Chronicles of the Void, first of all, it is really a fantastic tabletop role-playing game, and it's really quite special for a reason I'll talk about in a minute. So it's a pure science fiction tabletop role-playing game. So it's not a fantasy role-playing game. Right there out of the gate, that's pretty interesting, right? So one of the things is $15,000 is really not a lot to create a role-playing game. Like Numenera is the role-playing game that had also a science fiction role-playing game. It was Kickstarted for $500,000. Fate, or the Fate role-playing game, I think it made around $400,000. So, and then also now both of those, Numenera and Fate, were Kickstarted for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they were created. There's also a role playing game right now called Far West, which I've been looking forward to, and I'm not the only person looking forward to that game. A lot of people have been looking forward to this really cool Western role playing game called Far West. It was Kickstarter like 2 years ago, made about $50,000, and it was never created. It's never been finished, and so I think it's Gareth Skarka is still working on that game, and that's a long time. So I was really fascinated by Chronicles of the Void. I purchased it. I read through it cover to cover. Really, really fantastic role playing game. Amazing characters in it. I could do a whole video just on all the the different characters that are in it. There are genetically pure humans, and there's one of the character types is Grumpkins, which are these. So you can play a character that is actually 8 or 9 small gremlins that pilot a mech, and so they can switch around and they can pilot the mech in different ways. And then, and there's just tons and tons of really unique character design items in here. One of the things that's really interesting about Chronicles of the Void to me is, actually Chronicles of the Void, in my opinion, is clearly a failed role-playing game, right? So this triggers a lot of buttons for me. So one, I actually am absolutely fascinated by failure, and I continue to be more and more fascinated by failure because I have this really strong opinion that failing is good. Failing is a really, really good thing. And so usually when you fail, especially on a lot of big projects like this, it's not because you didn't try hard enough. It's that you tried something that was hard and it didn't work out, right? And so I think that's what happened with these guys. $15,000 is really not a lot. I think they were probably hoping for a lot more than that. And also, they made an amazing game. This is a 160-page book, fantastic art, fantastic top-level writing. I've seen games that have sold hundreds of thousands of copies that are not as well written as this, not as well designed as Chronicles of the Void. By the way, it is currently on Drive-Thru RPG for $9.99, which I think is a great price. It's the right price for a tabletop role-playing game as a PDF. I really think that's a perfect price for a PDF. I don't really think they should go higher than that. A lot of games are higher than that. Yeah, it's a file. At the end of the day, come on, it's a file. You know, I know you worked hard on it, but you're not really producing a real book. For a PDF, $10 is the right price. And now, to tell the truth, that's one of the reasons why I love Chronicles of the Void. Chronicles of the Void, I think, is a fantastic, wonderful role-playing game because it failed. It would have been $35 for the PDF. Actually, I'm sorry. It's $35 for the hardback, but most of the games are $20 for a PDF if they're successful. So I think one of the reasons why this game is so cheap is that it failed. Another really interesting thing is a lot of role-playing games have this problem with bloat. So you get a core role-playing game, you get a core rule book, and then you get 15 splat books, and you get your psionics book, and you get your ship book, and there's just a lot of obligatory books that come out, and it becomes more and more unwieldy at the table, and also you kind of lose the world, right? So right now, Chronicles of the Void is an amazing game, beautifully laid out, fantastic writing, fantastic art, 160 pages. You're in and out, $10, 160 pages. The 160 pages means it's much easier to get into. And I actually think role-playing games should absolutely really be being written like this right now, all the time. Like 350-page books, I love reading. You got me. I'll read a 450. Actually, Pathfinder is over 500 pages long. I will read that all day long. But to play a tabletop role-playing game, you got to put 5-6 players at the table and getting 5 or 6 people that are going to read a 300, 400, 500-page book, right? And then 2 or 3 splat books on top of that. That is hard, right? And it's getting increasingly harder because generally it's not because people don't want to read. It's just there's more things to do. Netflix is a fountain of awesome shows. Television is better than ever. Video games are competing. Movies are competing. People are becoming more healthy and doing all outdoor stuff. It's hard to get people to read 350 pages, right? So actually, Chronicles of the Void is a one-book world where the designers worked really hard, built it, and then the whole project just kind of didn't go anywhere, right? And that's actually a good thing. That means you can get into the game, you have all the basics to really own that world, master that world, and you're not really going to get a lot of splat books that are going to get in the way. And I thought, wow, that's really kind of, it's really kind of special, And so I hope this is being understood. I am not taking anything away from Wedge Smith or his team. I think it's fantastic they built this game. And I hope they build more games and learn from some of the lessons they found in Chronicles of the Void. And honestly, the mistakes they made really weren't that. They were mistakes of the heart. They were because these guys were passionate about something that really a lot of people are passionate about. Mistake number one, science fiction role-playing games. They just generally fail. Star Wars, Star Wars sells like hotcakes, right? Version after version after version. West End game had that game. Wizards of the Coast had Star Wars role-playing game. Fantasy Flight Games currently has it, right? And there have been no less than 5 or 6 versions of that game, and has gone out of print. At times it's struggled. That's Star Wars, right? Star Trek, multiple attempts to get a Star Trek role-playing game to work. Gamma World, in and out of print. To this day, the latest version has failed already. So it wasn't that Chronicles of the Void was a great science fiction role-playing game. Problem is, fantastic science fiction role-playing games do not sell. So I think that's really kind of interesting. But, these guys really had a heart for it, and they built something special. You can see their blood, sweat, and tears in this game, and it is awesome. It is really, really awesome. And, and I think the other thing is they were early on the Kickstarter, the whole Kickstarter wave. And I think these guys could build another great game. And I really love to see them build another great game. I think it's pretty awesome that Chronicles of the Void is a standalone at this point. I think it's a great, perfect standalone. And so Chronicles of the Void is really something special. I highly suggest anybody who likes tabletop role-playing games or science fiction buys this. Because even if you don't even play tabletop role-playing games, the world that is created in this book is fantastic. It has fantastic short stories. Has just a whole. Yeah, I would like to do. I will actually do another whole video just about all the different character options in it. Really, each one could be a video on its own. Just really, really fantastic. So this is a really special game. And I was really fascinated by the whole, because I remember watching it when it was Kickstarted, and watching, the build up toward it, and it actually getting funded. And then I carefully watched it to see, Far West, a lot of people gave those people money. That 2 years, nobody's seen the game, right? That happens on Kickstarter. Put in your dough, nothing happens. It happens every now and then. And I hope Skarka gets that Far West out. I mean, I've been looking to it for a long time, but right now, it's one of those games where people are pointing to it, saying, "Hey, Kickstarter doesn't always work out." But these guys scrape. They work hard. They made a great, great game, and I just think it's awesome. So definitely buy Chronicles of the Void, and thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.